Everyone, in this short video, I'll show how to use Google Spreadsheet in order to visualize a qualitative data set. We're gonna create a pie chart and a Pareto chart for this data set. So this data set is a data set that account for the top 5 countries who earn the most number of medals in the Winter Olympic 2022. All right, so there are Germany, there's Canada, there's United States, Norway, and ROC, which is the Russian Olympic Committee. Canada earned 26 medals total. Germany's earned 27, Norway 37, ROC earned 32, and the United States earned 25 medals in total. And this is a quantitative data set because you see that the countries is not a measurement, like it's not in a numerical measurement, but these are like categories. And in each of the categories, there's an outcome. And in this case, number of medals, the total numbers of medals is an outcome for each of the category. So we have a list of countries and a list of and their corresponding number of medals. And as you remember that if we have a quantitative data set, which means these values here are numerical scores, then we would have something that's called frequency in each of the numerical score, right? And in qualitative data sets, we do have frequencies for each of the category, which is the same as the number of medals. In this case, the frequencies of how often Canada earned a medal. So it's just 26. So we just copy the number of medals for the frequencies of each country, the frequencies of earning medals for each country here. And then we can calculate the relative frequency, which equals to the ratio of frequency out of the total of number of medals. So we have to find the total number of medals using a function is called the sum function. So you have sum, okay, and you're gonna calculate the sum of, from this cell C9 to C25. C9 to C13. So we calculate the sum of all the medals that the first 5 countries earned. It's just 147. And we can calculate the frequency, relative frequency will be equals to the frequency divided by the sum, and the sum is 147. So we say 47. Okay. And you can copy the formula for the rest of the rows in this column. And you want to double check, is this the same? Yes, C10 divided by 147, C11 divided by 147, C12 divided by 147, and so on. So these are the relative frequency for each country. And just to make sure that we did it right, as you know, the relative frequencies, the sum of all relative frequencies has to be 1, right? So take this and plus this. It's going to be D13. D9 to D13. There we go. So relative frequency, the sum of relative frequency should be 1. The total frequencies is 147. And angles, we will talk about the angle a little bit later. Because when we construct a pie chart, we need to have create like proportion for each of the country on the pie chart, in which we will have to use the angle, right? Like how many degrees each of the part will take in a whole pie. So the relative frequency is, so the angle will be just equal to the relative frequency multiplied by 360. So the proportion of a pie multiplied by the total degree of a circle, which is 360. We're gonna do a little later now. Just need to, if you wanna create a pie chart, right? You just need to select the categories, and there is corresponding frequencies. And you're gonna click data, click on insert, and then chart. It will give you a column chart. But if you want to create a pie chart, you should pick the pie chart. Okay. So this is a visual for this qualitative data set, and this is called pie chart. You see that the whole 5 countries add up to be a whole circle, and because since there's 5 countries, so we see that there's 5 pieces here. The blue piece is the representations for Canada. You can see that Canada, the number of medals that Canada earned out of the total numbers is about 17.7%. Which is the relative frequency that we found earlier, right? And Germany earns about 18.4%. No, in total, Norway 25.2%, ROC 21.8%, and the United States takes about 17% out of the total number of medals that these 5 countries earned. Not the total number of all the countries, but just within these 5 countries. It's pie chart. And then as we talked earlier, you need to determine like how big each of the piece in this whole pie, right? By finding the angle of each of the piece. So you start from here. You always want to start from this line, connecting the top point to the center of the pie. And then for the first country, Canada, as you know that you have, is Canada takes about 17.7% of the pie, because this is the relative frequencies. Then we need to figure out also, what is this angle, right? Do you know where to start? Do you know where to end for Canada? So we need to figure out this angle. And in order to figure out this angle here, you can use this formula to say, take the relative frequency and multiply by 360 degrees. And the auto field will give you, corresponding degrees for all the countries. First, 63.67 degrees. So that means from this point, right, this angle here, this angle from this line, the starting line to the ending line for Canada, this angle here is 66.7 degrees. All right. And for Germany is about 66. So sorry, for Canada is 63 degrees. And for Germany is slightly bigger. So it's 66 degrees. For Norway is about 90 degrees, right? From here to here is about 90 degrees. For ROC, about 78 degrees. And for United States is about 61 degrees. So using calculating the degree will help you determine how big of each piece based on, the degrees. And again, if all this number is right, the sum of all the degrees should be equals to 360. Which is correct. Okay. So this is how we create a pie chart in Google Spreadsheet. And I just wanted to introduce, how you think about frequencies in qualitative data sets, how you can define relative frequencies, and how can you construct a pie chart. If you have to construct a pie chart by hand, you'll be able to do it by finding relative frequencies and then finding the angle, and then start with the first category, start with this line, go to the first categories, go to the next category, and so on and so forth. All right, what about, creating a Pareto chart thing? This is an example of a column chart. So you see that there's 5 columns, and each of the columns tells you the frequencies of each of the category. In Canada, you can see there's 27, 26 metals, 27 metals, and 37, and so on and so forth. Right? But this is not exactly a Pareto chart. The reason is in Pareto chart, you have to order the categories using a descending order, which means the first category has to be the one with the highest frequency, and the last category will be the one with the lowest frequency. In order to do that, we have to order our data set. Like you have to sort our data sets using the descending order. To sort data set, we can collect the data categories and their corresponding frequency, and then we're going to click on data, and you can click on sort range. So from A to Z is mean from lowest to highest. From Z to A is mean from highest to lowest. So we want to go from highest to lowest, like this. But this, if you pick that options, it ordered the letters in the category. So United States is like the latest letter, right? And then Canada is the earliest letter, C, which what we don't want. What we want is actually these numbers here to be the highest to lowest. So select these 2 columns again, data, sort range, maybe click advanced. Options, advanced options, we want to sort by, so there's 2 columns, column A, column B. We want to sort by column B, which is numbers, the values, the frequencies, and we want to sort from Z to A. So as we can see that now we have 37, 32, 27, 26, 25. So these values are in the descending order, and the corresponding pie chart, Pareto chart. This is the Pareto chart. How a Pareto chart look like is, organized categories from highest to lowest. I'm gonna edit chart. You can customize, the titles, charts title, countries, a Pareto chart. So this is the Pareto chart. All right. The total number of metals versus countries within 5 countries. And this is a pie chart. we go. We have an example of how to visualize qualitative data sets using first a pie chart or a Pareto chart. Okay, again, this is a qualitative data sets because our outcomes are not numerical, they are categories. So the data are categorized into different categories. And in each of the categories, you have the frequencies, and depending on the data set, the frequency, you have a name or the variable for the frequency. In this case, the variable for the frequency is the number of metals. All right, now you know how to create a pie chart or Pareto chart for any of the qualitative data sets using Google Spreadsheet.